Today you'll be able to understand why most of the customers didn't make money in the last 3 years. Very good day everyone, it's Alexandru Birca here as usual, and this is the 5th episode on the channel where we take the giant developers on the market and we analyze their tracking record from 2022. And genuinely speaking, I was looking forward to this specific analysis as I believe most of the customers still don't understand the reasons behind the numbers that you're about to see. 2022 was probably the best year so far for SOBHA, at least based on my perceptions. This is not linked to data. In that year, SOBHA launched 7 projects: Crest, Creek Vistas Grande, Crest Grande, Creek Vistas Heights, Waves Opulence, Sobha One and Seahaven. I do remember very well that most of the customers buying SOBHA in 2022 were people coming from Russia, and as we discussed in the previous episodes, obviously that's linked to the Ukraine and Russia situation which escalated in February 2022. At the same time, in 2022, Russians became one of the top nationalities buying here in Dubai as they were trying to save their money, and most of them were buying from people that speak Russian language as well, and that makes sense. An interesting thing is that in the same year, SOBHA decided to raise their commission, becoming one of the most generous developers on the market. Just for your records, they were paying from 5 up to 8% for a unit, and obviously that had a huge impact on all of the agents. Just for your reference, Yimar was paying 2.5% to 3% in 2022. I remember that very well, as plenty of the agents were telling me to switch. I'm just trying to give you some background so that you can understand the consequences. Now, SOBHA was operating on a very flexible payment plan back in 2022. We would call it 50, 10, 40, where you would pay 50% under construction, 10% on completion and 40% 2 years post-completion. Now, the problem with this payment plan is that people fell into the trick of the agents where they were thinking that, look, I would pay 50% and then I will resell, I will double my money and so on. As a result, clients were buying 2 units instead of 1, 4 units instead of 2, thinking that I'll resell this unit, I'll put this money in the next apartment and then I'll be renting this out. However, this ain't happening. Now, if you try to connect all of these things, because SOBHA paying big commission isn't necessarily a bad thing, but let's say freshly came agents to the market, Russian people buying from people who speak Russian language, which makes sense, 8% on stake, flexible payment plan, so it all went probably in the wrong way, and now you'll see why. Speaking about the developer itself, look, SOBHA is an amazing developer when it comes to the construction itself. As you can see now on your screen, 6 out of 7 developments are going as per the initial plan. And only one of them might have 2-3 months of delay. Now, if you specifically watch the previous video on the channel, definitely you must be impressed about the timeline of their products. I mean, SOBHA has its own niche of customers, and for us it's important to understand when you should considering buying SOBHA. Now, in order to understand that, let's go to our Excel sheet where we can see that the Crest and Creek Vistas Grande are already completed, while 5 projects are still under construction. The appreciation on the total property price are as following: the Crest Tower B or C 9%, Creek Vistas Grande 12%, Crest Grande 1%, Creek Vistas Heights standing at -3 as of now, Waves Opulence 2%, Sobha One -2 and Seahaven -7. As you might see, the results are obviously far from being impressive. Now, if we were to analyze the appreciation on the equity invested, we can see that the average result remains the same. Interesting enough is that if we analyze only the 2 projects which are already completed, the appreciation stands at 14.5%, which basically kept people away from inflation in the last 3 years. Now, as a result of my analysis, we can definitely see that SOBHA might be not the best option for capital gains, especially under construction. On the other hand, shall we be looking specifically at the property for personal use, the situation is different as the quality of their finishes is quite good, especially within their price range, and at least you know that they are going to surely build your project and they are going to do that in time. Now, I know that some of you might appeal to the Crystal Lagoon, which is not yet constructed in Sobha Hartland. That might be a problem. Look, I do understand there is another contractor. They are very slow at doing what they promised, However, I don't feel like that's the main reason for the prices being at the same point like in 2022. Honestly speaking, if we were to compare Sobha Hartland with Creek Harbour, in Creek we still don't have the Creek Tower, the mall, the metro station and so on. However, the developer is doing quite a good job and the prices are growing from the start of the community until now. At the same time, I must say that Sobha might be a very good option for people looking for fast rental returns, as the construction period of time for a project for them usually it's around 2.5 to 3 years, comparing, let's say, with other names on the market who say initially it will be 4.5 years construction and then they delay for another 1 or 2 years. So in this moment, Sobha becomes a very good option. At the end of the day, the most important thing in my opinion is to manage correctly your clients' expectations, and that's obviously on our shoulder as agents. I'll repeat myself again, Sobha is a perfect option for its own niche of clients, and believe me, those clients are quite happy if they come with the right expectations. By the way, it just popped into my mind that we also analyzed Ellington's tracking record and the lowest result was for Berkeley Place, which is located inside Sobha Hartland. So I don't think the lagoon is the problem. Probably the congestion on the street, probably the infrastructure, and the many other factors. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your attention. I really hope this video gave at least a bit of clarity, and that was the initial goal. You have my credentials below. If you have any questions, please text me on the WhatsApp. I'll be more than happy to assist you as usual, and I wish you all a productive day. On to next time. Bye bye.